The Range Line Bridge project getting ready to enter the next phase, which means Range Line will be closed for 87 days. I'm Chris Warner with what's next in this project and how it could impact a local business.
Plus, Oklahoma legislators return for a special session to discuss tax cuts, and summer camp begins for an education center. We'll take a look at what activities are available.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
We have late-breaking news tonight. Authorities have arrested a second escaped inmate from Berry County, Missouri. Authorities say they've arrested Matthew Crawford in Springfield. The police are still searching for the third escaped inmate. Police have opened an investigation to determine who helped an area hit-and-run suspect elude authorities for more than a week. Saturday night, Independence, Kansas officers arrested Brian Metzger for suspicion of attempted murder. Authorities accused Metzger of intentionally hitting another man with a car on June 2nd. Authorities had arrested 2 people for felony interference in this case on June 7th. Police say they're now seeking search warrants to gather more evidence and expect to make more arrests. Just before noon, authorities responded to a report of a pickup truck catching fire at the Harp Store gas station in Airport Drive, Missouri. They say the truck was fully engulfed in flames at the gas pump. The fire was under control in a couple of minutes and no one was injured. Work is progressing on the Range Line Bridge project in Joplin, which means a major traffic shift is about to happen. That shift could impact more than just your drive. KOAM's Chris Warner has more.
A year ago, we told you about the project to replace the railroad bridge on South Range Line in Joplin. Work is underway, and on July 18th, this portion of Range Line will be closed.
Then it'll be closed up to 87 days. And right now, we're finalizing some of the permitting with the railroad, moving the last couple of utilities.
87 days is a long time, but MoDOT is offering incentives and penalties to the contractor to keep the project on schedule.
Yeah, if they go beyond the 87-day range, it's $20,000 per day for each day they go over. And there's also an incentive at $20,000 per day for each day they finish early.
And the bridge itself is just no longer able to support the volume of traffic it sees.
Yeah, the bridge it's an old bridge. It sees a lot of traffic. It's in poor shape. It's becoming more and more of a maintenance issue for us to keep it going. And so the time comes when it becomes more financially responsible to just go ahead and replace the bridge and to keep doing maintenance, constant maintenance on it.
Stephen St. Clair is the president of Import Warehouse. A year ago, he had concerns about the project and the impact it could have on his business, and those concerns are still there.
You know, about 90% of my business comes from the northern end of Joplin, Webb City, Carthage, Carterville area, Carl Junction. So it's going to be a big impact. Hopefully they're going to let me have some access to the street in front of me, but people are just going to have to learn how to loop around and detour to me.
Detours will be posted for traffic along Missouri 249 from 7th to 32nd. For St. Clair, that detour is in the wrong direction.
There's no easy way, unless you know Joplin. You know, Connecticut or Davis Boulevard are your 2 options, but it is going to be difficult. We do have plans with our advertisement to kind of help show people from out of town how to get to us.
St. Clair adds they've made other changes beyond advertising ahead of the closure.
It's going to affect business. I mean, we're doing our parts. We've kind of slowed down on some of our orders, anticipating it.
St. Clair says he understands the project is important and must be done. He just wishes there were easier ways to do it. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
MoDOT says the road is scheduled to reopen on November 1st, ahead of the holiday shopping season, although some other cosmetic work might be ongoing. Another future project is in the works in Joplin from MoDOT. MoDOT's taking public comment for work on 7th Street from Schifferdecker to Range Line. The work is slated for late 2024 and could include things like pavement improvements, traffic flow improvements, and sidewalk improvements. Officials say the work is a long time coming.
It's pretty exciting to have a project. I know it's been a need for a long time. The project has been out there. It's been on our radar. It just hasn't been funded. So this new funding we've come into with the extra federal money and then the Missouri gas tax increase has allowed us to go ahead and put this on the program to get it built.
MoDOT has budgeted about $30 million for that project. The Oklahoma legislature is returning for a special session to consider tax cuts the governor wants. They'll also discuss how to allocate federal COVID-19 relief funds that were part of the American Rescue Plan Act. The session started today, and Governor Kevin Stitt wants lawmakers to consider eliminating the state sales tax on groceries and reducing the individual income taxes 0.25%. It's not clear whether the GOP-controlled House and Senate have the votes to approve those items. Some Republicans have urged caution about tax cuts since it takes a 3/4 vote from the legislature to increase taxes. House Speaker Charles McCall says the House will introduce unspecified bills intended to offset inflation. Nick Kelly joins us now with our first look at the weather.
And hot and humid once again. Dowe, even though it looked nice again from 7th and Rangeline, still does at the top of the 6 o'clock hour. It's just too hot and too humid, and we're only through the middle part of June, just about. Heat advisories for most, and a couple spots in northeast Oklahoma are under excessive heat warnings, all until we hit about 8 o'clock this evening. But the overall setup hasn't changed very much. This upper level ridge upstairs, keeping any big storm systems to the north of us for now. But that's why we're hot and humid. Lower to middle 90s still at the 6 o'clock hour. You add in the humidity, it feels like 100 degrees to about 108 in some spots. But even with the setting sun tonight, that upper level ridge means we're not going to drop off a lot tonight. So we'll still be in the 80s by the midnight hour, only dropping back into the upper 70s for tonight. So warm and muggy for the morning. Dow, hot and humid again tomorrow. We'll see if any relief is in sight here in a few.
Thanks to a Carl Junction veteran, a stretch of 171 is now named to honor those who served. Missouri legislators last month passed a bill to name a section the Atomic Veterans Memorial Highway. U.S. Navy veteran Clayton Crosby worked for years to push that legislation. The National Association of Atomic Veterans recognizes veterans who were exposed to radiation during atomic bomb tests.
This is going to be something that is just a legacy that I think we need to pay to those veterans and their their spouses, their families, and not to let people forget the sacrifices they made for the country.
Crews are still working on the official signage for the name change. We're going to hear from the local veteran tonight. The city of Columbus is hosting a special election tomorrow. Voters are going to decide whether to renew the 0.5% sales tax that's been in place since 1997. Sales tax goes toward the fire and police departments, water and sewer, drainage, and other utilities. We're going to have election results tomorrow evening on KOAM News at 10. And be sure to download the KOAM News app for all your election needs. You can also go to our website for election information at koamnewsnow.com/elections. The website will include resources for all of the 4 state areas, such as polling places, deadlines, dates, and you can even check to see if you're registered to vote. Once again, that's koamnewsnow.com/elections. Coming up, how a local organization is doing its part to make children feel involved.
No.
Plus, a retail chain begins an annual fundraiser for a good cause.
Hi, I'm Scott.
The local organization is helping kids take part in extracurricular activities. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri is offering a program called Full Potential. It offers assistance to area students in the form of money to pay for registration fees and equipment, as well as transportation. Officials say this program makes sure every child has a chance to reach their full potential.
When youth can get involved at an early age in any kind of sport or extracurricular activity, they're more likely to finish high school and also emerge from high school drug-free. And that really goes back to our mission here at the Alliance of wanting to promote happy, healthy families.
The Alliance offers resources to kids and their families in Jasper, Newton, Barton, and McDonald counties. Walmart and Sam's Club employees are rallying together for a good cause. Retail chain Today began their annual fundraising campaign to benefit Children's Miracle Network at Freeman Health Systems. Fundraiser across the nation has totaled $1 billion over its lifetime. More than $164,000 going toward Freeman Health Systems alone in 2021. We're going to hear from the participants tonight at 10. The Greenbush Kids Summer Camp wants to accomplish 3 goals this summer. Encourage campers to do something new and outside their comfort zone, be kind and work together, and most importantly, have fun. Activities will include archery, canoeing, high and low rope courses, and science classes.
So for me, every single day of camp, if we're meeting those 3 goals, I think that gives every person, every staff, every camper some purpose and some joy in what we're doing.
Tonight at 10, we're going to hear from one of the camp counselors. A little bit later, the Joplin Outlaws host their annual baseball youth camp.
But first, it was hot and humid. You didn't need me to tell you that for today, but I will tell you if we're going to get any relief coming up. It was another day where it certainly looked nice to be out and about, but as soon as you step one single toe out the door, you are just hit with the heat and humidity once again. At least the traffic's looking okay from Lander Chevy Cadillac, our camera from the southeast side of Joplin overlooking Interstate 44. You can note the clear skies up top for sure, but that's one big component to why we just played the same weather story yesterday all over again today. Mid-90s for highs yesterday, only dropping back near 80, maybe a few spots lucky if you dropped back into the upper 70s this morning. Then we just catapulted, no problem, back into the mid-90s once again, and with the high humidity, we definitely felt like well over triple digits throughout the course of the afternoon. But once we hit 8 o'clock, the excessive heat warnings for a portion of northeast Oklahoma and heat advisories for the rest of the area, they're going to fall by the wayside by 8 o'clock. Still doesn't change the fact that this upper level ridge is still in control. It's going to lead us to a warm and muggy night, but if you are not a fan of any rain or storms, certainly after I've lost track of how many days of rain we've seen over the past couple weeks, it is nice that we're keeping dry to start the evening out. The 7th and range line, it looks nice, but it does not feel nice. 93 degrees with the south wind gusting to 24, keeping that dew point at 76 and making it feel like 105. And it's the same story for the entire area. Lower to middle 90s, your air temperature, but you factor in those dew points, anywhere from 99 to almost 108 degrees for the effect against your skin. And even after we get past sunset, we're going to stay downright warm and muggy through the night. We'll still be in the 80s even as we hit the midnight hour and then dropping back into the upper 70s later on tonight. Overall, not much to show across the entire 4-state area. At the surface, we've got one system parked to the north, but this cold front to the west could try to make a play for us a little bit later on this week. We just got to wait for this upper level ridge to weaken and shift around a bit. Then this upper low in the Pacific Northwest asking to try and push that front our way. But unfortunately, it is not for tonight and it's not for tomorrow. As long as we're still underneath the upper level ridge, it'll keep us quiet for tonight. That's a positive note, but we'll be in the upper 70s to near 80 again for a warm and muggy start to your Tuesday morning. And at the very least, we'll keep mostly sunny throughout the day tomorrow. Maybe a little bit of a drop in the humidity. It may not feel so bad, but still 78 in the morning, 88 by noon, highs near 93 degrees with that south wind at 10 to 20. Same story all over again for Wednesday. Upper 70s to start, back in the lower 90s. And in terms of the heat indices, the drop in the humidity will be a bit of an improvement, but it'll still feel like the mid 90s to about 100 for Tuesday. And even as we go into Wednesday afternoon. Then the big question turns to Wednesday night with the incoming cold front. Storms will be firing off to the west, but it's a question of how deep can any of those storms try to get in here. So I want to watch for slight thunderstorm chances to Wednesday night, and even as we go into Thursday and Friday, as this ridge shifts around. You can see how the weakness in that ridge wants to allow at least a chance for some thunderstorms to swing through here, but it doesn't do a whole lot to scrub out the heat and humidity. 93 tomorrow, 91 Wednesday. We're in the lower 90s through Saturday now. At the very least, hopefully by the weekend, we can get lows back at least near 70.
The lows sound bearable, the highs not so much, but you know, what do you do? Thanks, Nick. Hey, if your signal of KOAM or Fox 14 becomes kind of glitchy this week, that is actually a sign of progress, believe it or not. We're going to be broadcasting from a lower temporary antenna while a crew installs a new, more technically advanced antenna at the very top of our tower. It's the final step in our More Power project. It's going to allow some viewers who previously lost our signal to get us once again. If all goes according to plan, we're going to be back up and stronger than ever by the end of June. So bear with us. Still ahead, a Cardinals rookie makes his first career start tonight against the Pittsburgh Pirates. And a busy day for the Joplin Outlaws begins with the team's annual youth camp at Joe Becker Stadium. Jacob Leonard has that and more up next.
Today is a busy day for the Joplin Outlaws. The Outlaws hit the field this evening against the Jefferson City Renegades, but first, the team was up early this morning hosting their annual youth camp at Joe Becker Stadium. Now, around 70 local youth baseball players showed up to day one of camp this morning. Now, those athletes spent the day working on fundamentals of the game with both Outlaws players and coaches. For the team today, it was all about passing on their love for the game and hopefully making some new fans in the four-state area.
I just hope that they fall in love with it and they learn one little thing, whether it's about base running, hitting, pitching, whatever it is. Start them, thinking about the game a little bit, and hopefully this is something they can take away, and hopefully they fall in love with someone on our team and they come back to watch some more games.
It's a big part to have all the fan support, especially little kids coming up to you asking you for autographs and stuff like that. I mean, it makes you feel special in a way.
Day two of camp will be tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. at Joe Becker Stadium. Now, all kids 12 and under, by the way, get in free to Outlaws home games. Tonight, they actually hit the field. The Outlaws hosting Jeff City after facing them on the road last night. And Joplin trying to avoid a third straight loss in this one. First pitch will be at 7 o'clock. We'll have highlights from the game right here tonight at 10. Now, in the major leagues, the St. Louis Cardinals open a series against the division rival Pittsburgh Pirates tonight. Now, the Cardinals are fresh off a series win over Cincinnati, taking 2 out of 3 against the Reds. Now, lefty Zach Thompson will get his first career start this evening for St. Louis. It's his second appearance for the Cardinals since being called up earlier this month. That game will begin in about 15 minutes. As for the Kansas City Royals tonight, they are on the road against the San Francisco Giants in a 2014 World Series rematch. The Royals send Brady Singer to the mound, aiming for the team's 4th win in 6 games. That's a West Coast game, so a little bit later start with first pitch coming at 8:45. Well, tonight is Game 5 of the NBA Finals between the Boston Celtics and Golden State Warriors. The series is tied at 2 games apiece coming into the night. This one, definitely a big one this evening. The winner of Game 5 in a series tied 2-2 goes on to win the series 82% of the time in the NBA. Golden State's a 4-point favorite at home in this one, but so far, home court advantage hasn't really meant a lot in this series, with both teams going 1-1 on their home floor.
It comes down to the way that we defend, the way that we bring intensity, especially to start games, understanding how they respond after losses. That was one of the big points in the series. 2 great teams. They know how to respond. They know how to win in other people's buildings.
It's 2-2, and we obviously put ourselves in the position to, stretch the lead and be up 3-1. But bottom line is we're 2-2, and we earned that as well, not being down 0-2 or 1-2 or whatever the case may be.
That's a look at sports. We're back with more news right after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Brent Archer began his service in the U.S. Army in 1991. His hometown, Carthage, Missouri. We salute Specialist Brent Archer, a four-state hero. Here's a look at what's coming up on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Inflation numbers crushing consumer confidence and could push the Fed to more drastic moves. Also, why Missouri will not enforce any new federal gun control laws. And we're going to hear about a new car rental service on the moon. Don't know what that's about, but we'll find out tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. The weather's going to be hot for a while.
Yeah, that we know for sure. Back here on Earth, warm and muggy tonight, hot and humid again tomorrow, dry with highs near 93.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here at 10. Let's make it a great evening.